How are we looking in the viewfinder, Kevin?
I think it's looking pretty good.
Am I looking bigger and more charming?
Hi, Stephen Boswell here with Matt Oxley here at the Oxley Institute, and we want to talk with you a little bit about Matt's recent article on blind spots and advisors' nemesis. And thought you might be interested in hearing some behind the scenes, what got him thinking about this article, and maybe some how-tos, Matt.
Well, you know, we all got blind spots. I mean, every one of us. It's like my son continually, Patrick, giving me grief because on my license it says I'm 5'9", a whopping 5'9". He says I'm 5'8", 5'8 and a half, and I'm still going by 5'9". Or it's like you with that beard, you know. I mean, you know, you're not 45 with that beard, you know. You've been.
I was just hoping for an extra few years of age, Matt.
You know, you've been around 12 years. But seriously, when it gets to the blind spots to business, and the reason I wrote this is that, you know, a few years ago, we do our parallel research project, which you're intimately involved with. We ask the affluent questions, we ask the advisors questions, and when we ask questions to the affluent about financial planning, do they have a financial plan, a comprehensive financial plan that they're prepared by their advisor that they're following? Less than 30% said they did. We asked the advisors, do you have, is comprehensive financial planning a core part of your practice? And 84% of the advisors said they did. So that's kind of a serious gap for running a practice. You got those robo-advisors hovering out there.
They're ready. And, you know, Nate, we don't get surprised often in the research, but when that first came through on the affluent, that less than 30% said they had a plan, that got both of our attentions quickly.
Well, you know, and you wonder why. And, you know, in the world of intangibles, advisors, this is something every advisor needs to make certain they do. You gotta demonstrate, communicate, and quantify your value. So if you're doing a plan, you better be doggone sure your client knows they have a plan. You might think that's crazy, but, you know, having a review and just checking off a couple boxes versus having a review and making a command performance. You're pulling out the whole plan, reviewing what happened last year, even though you might not have changed that much. Where are we going this year? You just want to make absolutely certain they know.
Yeah, well, exactly right. If we were to go in and survey your client base, that you'd have 100% of them saying, you bet we've got a plan. We talk about it all the time.
Right.
And part of that is the structure that they need, but the other part of it is, we saw it with the last financial meltdown that we had. The advisors who took the time to do the right plan and talk about it often enough weren't getting the same number of inbound phone calls as those who kind of winged it or didn't really do much of a plan.
Oh, you're exactly right. And they have stronger relationships with their clients, and their clients recognize the important role that the advisor's playing in their life. But there again, that's a huge gap.
It is. And shifting gears for a minute, the other piece you wrote about in the article was the gap in just perception of the overall relationship. The advisor's perception of how social they've gotten with clients versus the client's perception.
Well, that's sort of like your beard, I guess. You know what I mean? But you know,
I know. So I'm gonna have to go home and shave.
Yeah, and I'm gonna have to grow a couple inches, right? But you know, when you think about it, I mean, you know, we have 5 years of data that shows that when you expand the relationship with your affluent client and include socializing with them, they rate you higher in everything you do. So when you ask the affluent, you know, do you have just a business relationship with your advisor, or is it expanded? And less than 30% say they have just business. And you ask advisors the same question, and like 75 or thereabout percent, 3/4 say we have this expanded relationship. You know, what is it? They're talking to a client and saying, "How are the kids?" on the phone.
I think that's exactly it.
Social.
Well, when you think about it, we all like to think that we're personal and social with clients, but if it's asking, yeah, bad enough, how are the kids? If you don't even get their names out there.
Right. Right.
But, you know, I've heard Kevin Nichols here talk about it, that if you're in the office, you're not getting credit for being social if you're sitting in the office. It doesn't matter what you talked about.
Right.
And so
you're exactly right. Advisors just need to realize this is important. It's really relationship management. It links to relationship marketing. We talk about it, we write about it, our research highlights this all the time. But when you have these kind of blind spots, and you know, whether you think you're doing planning and your clients don't, or you think you have this expanded relationship, but your clients don't feel the same way, that's not good.
No, it's not, and it leaves all of us vulnerable here. And you know, one of the things that, as we were preparing for this this short video today, we were thinking about how do we get actionable with this. And as we were brainstorming a little bit, we'd think, you know, would it be great to do a fire drill? Let's say you have any doubt in your mind whatsoever that you've got this type of relationship with your client, or that you're providing planning, the kind of planning that we're talking about here. Let's run a fire drill on this next Tuesday.
Yeah,
and spot check.
Yeah, and spot check. And I would even go one step further, because here's another blind spot that is prevalent, is communication amongst a practice. You have your weekly meetings. Are they effective? Does everybody know what value you're providing your client? Is everybody clear about their role? So you have a communication blind spot internally. Then you have these blind spots that we've been talking about here between the client and what you think you're delivering. So you're right. A fire drill would be great. Let's look at planning. Are we really sure? Are we really doing this properly? Are we making a big enough deal about this properly? Let's look at, the social calendar. Do you have a social calendar? If you have a social calendar and you knew the last time you went out to dinner with Mr. and Mrs. Oxley, socially, non-business, you're tracking it. You're putting a frame around it. And then if you're maybe asking everybody on your team specific questions like, what value are we delivering our clients? What value? What value do you deliver your clients? Is everybody on the same page? You went out and interviewed all these 50 some odd teams last year, these elite teams, $2 billion in assets plus, and didn't seem like many of them were on the same page.
No, and that was a little bit of a surprise. I mean, teams that have gathered a tremendous amount of assets, but still there's confusion amongst team members as to what is it that we do that people find of value.
Right.
And you don't find that out until you quiz somebody. I mean, it's easy to assume, he or she works here every day, they spend a lot of time doing this, but put them on the spot, ask them, quiz them. And so when you think about a fire drill, you can look at this, if the shoe fits, wear it, right, Matt? I mean,
exactly
is it the social nature of your relationship with clients? Is it the financial planning? Is it that your team members can't explain what they do?
Right.
Put them on the spot. It's a while back when we talked a lot about getting social and engaging both spouses in the relationship, we used to recommend a top 25 audit. And this one, we'd expand even further than 25. But it had spouse one's name, spouse two's name, kids' names, last business contact, last social contact. And you can put in there, we were talking earlier today about the survey question around financial planning. If you want to quantify financial planning, make a note, just estimate how many hours or minutes you put into that client's financial plan or discussing that plan in the prior year. Pretty good barometer here.
Right. This is not rocket science. It's common sense, but not common practice. So I agree. Do a fire drill, pick one topic, drill down on that topic, and make absolutely certain that you eliminate that blind spot, and then go to topic number 2.